fantastic. What are some of the common barriers you saw at some of the companies as they went smaller, smaller, smaller?
Well, so I'll often say, when you start a business, there's got to be a lot more things you don't have than you do. You're not going to have, like in the case of Constant Contact, no different. And some of the other ones that I had success with are just not well known by name, but that's okay. We did well, and we served a purpose. Several were serving small businesses on the back end and payment systems and e-commerce and some other things like that, websites. But what we didn't have, we didn't have a finished product. We didn't really have much of a product. We had just some things cobbled together for part of the idea. We didn't have a business plan. We had an executive summary. We didn't have any employees. We didn't have any customers. We didn't have any success stories. We didn't have any revenue. We didn't have, I can keep going. That's all the stuff we didn't have.
The things you did have.
I understand now that you need a lot of those. But we didn't have any when we started. But what did we have? We went out, we talked to small businesses. We kind of ran our idea by them, what we wanted to do. And the earliest stuff, we kind of got in the hands of a few. And so we saw them get wide-eyed with the opportunity of what we can do. And so our original premise was, enterprise, large companies had all the things that they needed in the day, right? So they had enterprise marketing tools. They had staff, technical and marketing. They had agencies helping them externally, and they had it all. Amazon and others, sort of firing up the marketing engine, one-to-one personalization, all this stuff that was sort of going on at the time. And so you walk down Main Street, in any city in the world, and in fact, there are some cities that don't have a Main Street, like New York. but imagine they did, Times Square, wherever. So you go down Main Street, and those small businesses didn't have anything. And so we said, okay, how can we level the playing field for the small businesses against those big competitors? And if we provided them an easy-to-use, self-service tool that they didn't need to be technical, and it was going to be low budget, if we provided that, and so they could look just as good as the others, and all they needed to worry about is what they were going to send, when they were going to send it, and who they were going to send it to. Then we saw them get wide-eyed, and those initial ones that started to use it, again, total strangers, brutal, honest feedback, didn't like the fact that it crashed, didn't like the fact that they found a bug. They told us what features they needed. Like, we learned a lot, and we took our lickings. But we got those 4, and those were critical because we saw they were wide-eyed. They had some success with it. We got some testimonials. We got feedback to fix, to enhance the product. We had customers, and when we were going out to work with people like channel partners, alliances, strategic partners, all different names for them. When we started to go talk to them, they'd say, "Well, do you have any references?" And so I'd say, we'll give you 3. And they're like, "Do you have any more?" I'm like, "I'll give you 1 more. And don't tweet this." But, no one asked for a 5th reference. We only had 4. We worked it. And so they said, okay, we see the value. And they could take the leap to say, well, our customers that are just like yours could take advantage of this as well. So they saw what are others like their customers doing. They saw success with those 4. So everyone sits there again, another obstacle. Like, it's too early to go talk to strategic partners. We only have 4 customers, or we only have this, or we don't have enough of that. And I would just say to you, you got to start those conversations early. And in the case of Constant Contact, when we started, we got those 4 customers. We were 100% channels after that. And we stayed that way for a while. And when we sold the company, 10 years later, we went public, and 8 years after that. So we were an overnight success in 18 years. When we sold the company, we sold it for $1.1 billion. At that time, we had over 8,000 partners that were out every day, either helping folks set it up, tell them about it, do it for them, all kinds of different types of partners. And that was, again, sort of getting over an obstacle. How are you going to scale was for us in many companies a channel strategy. So when you go to an investor and they say, how are you going to scale? The answer is not, unless you're an enterprise tool, for $100,000 to $200,000 for your software or whatever it may be, The answer is not hire 100 salespeople. You've got to find ways to get to your target market, and it's sometimes through other intermediaries that are like partners.
No, that's fantastic. So you found a way to leverage, right?
Yeah.
You found a way to get your product out there, make it a win-win for those people who leveraged you, right? Because they went out there and sold and became another tool in their toolbox, right, to attract other customers. And I think that's fantastic. I think a lot of people worry about that. How do we get out there? Well, we need to hire 3 salespeople. We need to hire this. And they're afraid to give away even a small piece of the potential revenue. Short term, they're thinking short term. They're not thinking long term.
Right.
In your case, it was a success. In many cases, it's a success. But I believe it's a barrier that people face. Why should I charge $200 for my service, but I'm going to give $100 away to somebody who just referred? Right. And they feel like they're losing out, but they're seeing a small picture. What's your advice to them?
Yeah. So imagine if your service started free, and then the first pay level when someone hit that sort of milestone to move to paying, was $15 a month, right? So and then I got to turn around and you're going to give someone, $5 or $7.50, whatever it is. If you're sharing the monthly, or you give them some sort of a one-time fee or a referral fee of $100. Well, they got to stay for so long before you even break even on that, and there's all those challenges around that. But the bottom line is leverage. You're not, if you want to grow, like we couldn't grow. So it was me, myself, and I. There are 3 of us in the attic. 2 folks on the technical side. I was on the business side, go to market, and so on. And so couldn't go walking down the street, knocking on doors to sell and scale. And it wasn't going to take another 100 people to knock on those doors. We had to get to, there's 30 million small businesses, associations, and nonprofits in North America. How do we get to them? Through others, right? That was sort of the focus of the channels, and oftentimes channels. Most people don't know that is one of the best leverage points of a business, whether it's a nonprofit, association, or small business, or any business. Working with partners, and I'll ask in a large room, show of hands, how many of you are working with current alliances, strategic partners, others, and very few hands go up. 10%. At the most, and I'll say, give me an example of one you're working with, and they'll shout out, consultants, or other, like a vertical application, like the nonprofit donor app, and we, or whatever it may be, that where they can sort of try to work together, and so I challenge everyone that first understand the channels in your business. I mean, it's a full on focus to figure it out. I challenge everyone that there'll be 15 channel partner categories minimum for each one on each startup or small business on the call. There's at least 15, but let's say minimum 15. So the one that everyone shares is association and member orgs. So whatever you do, product, service, whatever your focus is, there's the association of blah, local, regional, national. There's networking groups around it. There's all kinds of stuff, and so those association and member orgs where your target customer's hanging out, and you have a way to kind of get in front of them through those organizations. And when do you get the opportunity to be in a room with everyone sitting in that room is your target customer? Well, the association and member orgs is one way, and so I say that because that's one that everyone shares, and there's multiple ones in that category alone. So if there's each category is going to have 15 to 20 top ones that you could work with, like in association of members, like chambers of commerce and others like it, right? So there's got to be at least 15 or 20 in each category. So there's 15. So I gave you one. So everyone on the call, you got to go figure out your other 14. That's a minimum that each of you can hit. And we had hundreds of categories that we worked with at Constant Contact when we finished, to where there was on any given day, weekday, weekend, night, day, someone was talking about us in front of a group, or presenting this, or going to meet with folks to tell them about us, or put it up on their marketplaces and others and promote it. So if you wanna start out, so I say start up, scale up. If you want to start up, there's a lot of things you're going to do, but then how are you going to scale up? And channels is one of the secret sauce, things to do that.
I think a lot of people don't see the power of some of the tools that's right in front of them. Everyone knows LinkedIn.
Right.
LinkedIn is an amazing way to find your ideal customer, no matter where you are around the world. It's pretty fascinating because sometimes I'll actually see if I have a connection with the people I'm trying to go for. Like if I'm trying to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce for speakers, for example, I'm trying to see, okay, who's connected to who, and how can I use my long distancing to get me in front of that person? And sometimes it's that simple. But without you going out and actually building and researching and finding out your way in the door, you're missing out on an opportunity. And I love that that right there, that one little tip. If they just do that one and go research the other 14, can make a difference right now between them getting one customer or 10 customers.
Right. And so the other challenge or obstacle around this is if you're going to go raise money, right? So people are building businesses for a lot of reasons. And so some people will want to build a nice family run business, where they'll be able to provide for their family and pay for college and get the second home and do all those things. So that's great, power to you. But if you're someone who wants to go build this and you want to build it up and have this vision about, maybe selling it one day or going public or whatever it may be, you're going to go out and you're going to need funding to accelerate. Unless you can get out of the gate and your flywheel starts fast with a lot of revenue. There are those examples, but they're rare. That flywheel is going to be slow, and so you're going to take an injection of money in, and that'll help you accelerate your growth with additional marketing, additional hires, more added into the product or whatever you would need to fund in the mix for the use of those proceeds that you take from an investor. But when you're sitting in a room with the investor and they ask the question, how are you going to scale? Back to what we talked about a bit ago, it's not hire 100 salespeople. The answer will be here. And if you can show them, the few customers that they're using it and directionally see the value. Now the question is, how do you scale? Well, if you get to a bunch of partners that amass millions, tens of millions of small businesses in this case, that you could be working with and through, which some are referral only, some will be more co-marketing, some will be more hands-on. There's smaller local trusted resources that walk into small businesses and help them every day. Website building, PR, small business consultant, marketing agencies. They're a trusted resource who could talk about the new product or service. That happens in every industry. You just have to know the sphere of influence and who are they, where's your target market hanging out? Who are they relying on for best practices and thought leadership? What associations and member orgs do they get attracted to? And then what other businesses are serving them today? And are there alliances and partnerships where you collaborate because you're complementary? There's so many things to think about, but this will just help guide the growth of the business. Again, flywheel takes time direct selling to your customer, and it also takes time for channels. And there's more to that story. Yeah. At the end of the day, that's one of those secret sauce areas.